Hi, welcome back. If you don't know me, my name is Natalie. I go by Shapeless Flame. I'm a full-time cartoonist from Appalachia, and I'm in the process of working through the artist way for a second time, and I just finished up week 2. If I'm being honest, I've been really hard on myself this week because I feel like I'm already kind of phoning this thing in. My morning pages have been sort of sparse and scarce, and my affirmations aren't really cutting through like they did the week before, and I just feel like I'm not giving it my all. Of course, naturally, I have to be like, I'm not locked in. This isn't worth it. I'm not doing it right. Like it's 75 hard for artists or something, and yeah, push through, baby. If you mess up one day, start completely over. Yeah. Come on. I loathe how much this toxic mentality disguised as discipline shows up in my everyday decision making. I feel like I have to show up in a particular way. What way that is, I do not know, but a very particular way for it to count. Of course, the book touches on things like this, feelings like this. Towards the end of chapter 2, she has a list of 10 statements that she calls the rules of the road. And so, in an effort to be a little easier on myself, because I'm sorry, I'm going to highlight 3 specific things from that list that I can confidently say that I honored this week, and talk about those and celebrate those things. So my artist date this week ended up being purely happenstance. I had planned to just go out and kind of decide as I was out and just kind of go with the flow, but I was also just not feeling it. I didn't really want to go do anything. I sort of forced myself into it. I didn't have a plan. It just was a bad sitch. So I took myself instead and got a bagel and sat in the parking lot of the mall, and I saw a bunch of crows, and they were like getting into trash and like rooting around and digging around trying to find something to eat. So I rolled my window down and thought, this is every goth girl's dream. I'm gonna make friends with these crows. And I threw out some bagel pieces, and lo and behold, I made some friends. So it ended up being like probably the hardest artist date to top. And I mean, I'm only on week 2, but I honestly don't think it's gonna get any better than that. You ready? Good job. Yeah. Are we friends now? Good stuff, huh? Another piece? Hi. Yeah, good job. All right. Too good. I've also continued tidying and cleaning the house, and I consider this an act of self-care, an act of self-respect. My husband's helping with things. We're just getting rid of like old shoes, stuff in the cabinets, things here and there. And, sometimes it can be really overwhelming because, sometimes you gotta make a mess to clean up a mess. But I know ultimately that is me filling my cup, because I am creating a sacred space and, honoring my home and honoring my environment. And lastly, to this first point, I went and scheduled a haircut, went and got a haircut. And big freaking deal. I know you can't tell because I have it put up right now, but I just got a trim. I go to a friend of mine that I've known since high school. So it's good because I get to experience her energy, and I get to talk to her, and I get to get out of the house, and I'm taking care of myself, and I'm also paying her and returning money into my community, and it just makes me feel good. So I'm glad that I did that for myself. I don't think I managed to write 3 full morning pages this entire week. It's only just been 1 page, and then one day I didn't even write anything at all because I just did not have the will. Instead, I'm reminded of the last time that I did the Artist Way, 5 or 6 years ago. Is I worked a full-time job. I had 0 time to write them in the morning, and I just made them my evening pages. On the weekends I'd get up and do morning pages, but during the week it was evening pages. And I know it's not as beneficial to like brain dump in the evening, but I still got it done. And I think that that's a good small goal to set. Like, if you can't do it exactly as you're supposed to, give yourself an alternative. Like if you're exercising in the gym and you can't do full squats, you can alternate, you can do something else. So just try to think. I am telling myself this, but I'm also giving this advice that like that's a good small goal to set. You don't have to like strive for constant perfection. It's not, you're not learning when you do that. I know this intrinsically, but it's good to have the reminder. So when the tone has sort of been set for me for the week, and I don't know if this is because of the way my brain works or what, I just kind of have to think, okay, shift the goals for the week because it's not going to look the way that you think it's supposed to look on paper. So I did tell myself earlier in the week that I wanted to spend some time with my parents. I wanted to have like a nice time speaking to them, talking to them about things. And so I went out with my mom yesterday, spent the entire day with her, took her home, had a really nice conversation with her and my dad. And then in the evening, had a really good conversation with my kid. So that was a good goal to set because I knew that maybe like being super insular wasn't the best for me this week, but having that external really did. It honestly put a good capper on the week for me. Show up, make art, exist. That's enough. And I did do that this week. I actually had some pretty good ideas for projects and things like that. I have felt very creative, so I don't know what part of me is like, you're doing this wrong. It's so hard to turn that off in there sometimes. So I guess not everything has to be this big profound statement, this big profound thing. Sometimes the work is just the work. It's just the process. It's just messy. Sometimes it's a slog. Sometimes it really sucks. And the difference between, getting to point A and point B is not giving up. So I have to just show up and do the damn work. So this video might not look super polished or super put together as I would have wanted, and I don't have any massive epiphanies or anything like that, but I survived, and the world continues to turn despite being a dumpster fire. And that's the best I can do, and that's okay. So I am going to see you guys next week, week 3. For now, I'm going to go do some more work and some laundry. Bye guys, take care.